anyway, this is why I haven't done any updates on the diesel tractor. Just been spending a little bit more time out here than normal. So just finished walking from the road right way over there, parked on a corner, just on one of the side trails. So coming up this final hill here is kind of shitty, but there's a trail that I followed throughout the back there. So all the leaves on the trees are starting to turn pretty yellow. Most of them will probably be gone by next week. So today I think is, what is it, September 28th or 27th? I don't know, Saturday, something along that lines. So going to be back out here tomorrow, most likely with the quads. Today just with the truck. So anyway, if anything exciting happens, maybe I'll videotape it. And right there is probably why I'm not seeing any chickens. Did quite a bit of walking today and seen 2 of them, but oh, there he goes. He is gone. Okay, so I just somewhat fixed this pressure washer quickly. Just added a mutt fitting on there for the garden hose, where it broke last time. Should last. So today, this is the sandblasting kit I picked up. So it's already together. Right here, I wrapped it with tape, which I know will probably fall apart in a few days, but just to kind of keep it a little bit better, maybe not. So had a very thick hose that it came with right there, but I just wanted to kind of separate them just for a bit. Anyway, I am running the small pressure washer because my diesel one right there, the bypass isn't working, so it almost stalls the motor when you let go of the handle. And this is a little bit of a smaller hose, so you can see than I'd like, but anyway, I'm going to see if this one will do it. This one here doesn't have the gallons per minute that I really need, and it actually doesn't even really say on it anymore. I think this one here only did 3 gallons per minute at 2700 psi. So, but anyway, I'll see if I can do some wet sandblasting. I'm going to be using copper slag, which you can't really see it there. It's in that bag right down there, so I'm going to be pulling that outside in a few minutes. Same stuff I use in my sandblasting cabinet. And I'm going to be sandblasting the tractor. Well, it's working. Very slowly anyway. Battery on the camera is ready to die, so that's 1 tank of gas. I can't get the pressure really to get much flow from the hose, I guess, but it is removing quite a bit. I did start sanding the motor because I am going to paint it. I don't care if I get anything in there because I'll take out the filter after. I'm purposely not spraying it in there, so anyway, I'm just going to skin coat pretty much on the stuff that's not rusted. Just got to get this foot rest here a little bit more. This one here is probably good. I am going to paint it with rust paint. As for the rims, I'm going to take them off and I'll do them probably in the spring. Not too worried about them. I do plan on changing my tires before winter. Well, tractor part's done. Still need to give it a maybe, it might be okay. I know it's kind of hard to see, but certain areas I went a little bit quicker, like on the sides there. But you can see it is pretty well covered. Has a nice finish everywhere. I'll have to still probably give it one more rinse, maybe with the garden hose. Have to bring it out on a warmer day. It almost started to, it was actually snowing last night, so it's getting cold out. So garden hose is going in, drained all the water out of the machine. That pressure washer just doesn't have the power to sandblast, but it did work. It just took a tank and a half of gas, so it took a little bit of time. As you can see, my dash kind of fell apart. So I'm going to take the entire dash, smash it off, even though I just put my throttle on there, which works, smash that off, and I'll go without a dash temporary until I can either make a new one out of diamond plate or find a metal one. So anyway, I'm going to see how this thing likes starting when it's soaked. So, set you guys up on my chair pod. It's wet again. here so I can talk. I guess that's rusty water. Well, that's the first official actual cold start of her. It's like +2 outside right now. It is freaking freezing, and I am wet. So I'm going to turn on the heat in here after this runs for a bit. So, yeah. Holy shit, that was a hard start. So yes, electric starter is going to be necessary to start this beast in the winter. So anyway, just letting her dry. I turned on the heater up top there just to try to bring the garage up to temperature for painting. The in-floor heat that we have there, we have not turned on in-floor heat yet. We'll do that after hunting season, because once we turn that on, it gets pretty hot pretty quick in here. And we also got the infrared heater or whatever up there. So, but just turning that guy on temporary, give it half an hour and it'll be up to 15 in here. I just looked at the thermometer and it was freaking down to like 7 in here. So I did have the big door open for quite some time when I was sandblasting. So anyway, doesn't seem to be that bad. As for the seat pan, I went over it quickly to remove all the light rust. I'm going to give it a coat of paint, and I'll use that temporary. I went to Princess Auto, a few other places trying to find a seat, and they didn't have what I wanted. I wanted something with a high back like this so my ass doesn't get cold. So sure, this one here doesn't have a cushion on it, so my ass is going to freeze, but I'll figure out something anyway. I'm thinking I can always cut that one up when I decide to make my seat for the racing tractor there. So yes, I'll start working on that probably right after I get this thing done. Really all I have to do now is install my plow and of course paint it and the seat. So my throttle's all hooked up, everything seems to be fine. Exhaust is done. As for my intake, I took that off because it got a little bit of water on it, and that crunch right there was the way I got it, so I don't know how the hell that happened, but I do need to get another air filter. You see a little bit of walnut shells got sucked inside her. I used copper slag, and then I switched to walnut shells after because the copper slag left a little bit too much of a rough finish on it. I did sandblast an entire motor here, so nice and soft now. So don't want to get too much oils for my hands on it because I will be painting that. Ooh, almost tripped on Jack. That would have been bad. Right on top of the seat I would have landed. So anyway, you can see my oil right there. I just take that Allen key out, or I can unscrew this entire extension and drain my oil. So because otherwise, once I put on the nose cone, which is right here, that bracket right there would have got in the way of draining the oil. So anyway, actually, once I'm done this, I got to get this chainsaw going. I need that for hunting season, so also got to do an oil change again on it. I just put in 1030 non-diesel oil, temporary, just to flush what was in the system because I don't know what they had. So anyway, once it warms up and it all dries, I'll take the air gun, blast anything I can find off it, and I'll start putting on paint. And as for paint, I got a couple cans of this Tremclad rust paint by this gloss. So I went to pick up a thing of flat black and a paintbrush. Yes, I'm going to actually try painting it with that. Normally I use shaker cans, but I never actually tried Tremclad in a brush. If it looks like shit, I guess I'll be sandblasting her again in the spring. So anyway, get back to you guys once I start putting on the paint. Well, my dash pissed me off, so I pulled off the dash. It came off in one piece, as you can see. Chunks of it freaking everywhere, all over the floor. Rotten piece of shit dash. Anyway, it was already toast. It's broken up since I got the tractor, so I'm going to be looking for a metal one or a fiberglass one. So if anyone knows of an aluminum one or a fiberglass one, or even steel, I don't care, let me know. I kind of had the idea that I wanted to change it anyway, because I want to actually raise the steering wheel, kind of like I did to the Sears Suburban. That's in another one of my videos. So I'm kind of thinking I'll have to end up cutting the steering wheel off and trying to get a replacement one. And basically, when I'm on a seat, the steering wheel it just seems to be about an inch too low on my Sears. I haven't sat on this one yet because the seat was completely rusted. So So anyway, I degreased everything the best I could. Yeah, you can see there's still some rust in there, but that's all going to be hidden. Underneath, I just took a wire brush to it, wiped it all down with some degreaser, so hopefully the paint sticks good. A little bit of rust still in there, but for some reason it did not want to come off. Again, never had the best luck with that sandblaster. Anyway, this is what I'm using right here, Tremclad Flat Black. So, and I'm going on with a brush. So, yep, trying something new instead of using a shaker can. If it looks like shit, I'll just have to sandblast it off in the spring. So, got that heater on, the infrared one now. And that guy. And temperature-wise, I'm almost ready to start painting. So, yeah, it's about 23, so that's almost perfect. So, just bumped her up a little bit just so it's warm enough that the paint actually sticks proper. Well, according to this, it says no primer needed except iron and steel, heavy pitted or sandblasted. Use Tremclad gray or red oxide primer as first coat. Well, it's Sunday, nothing's open. I want to start on it. I'm just going to take a chance. Worst case, I'll have to sandblast all of this off and redo it in the spring. Well, you can see there where it's drying. Even though when it's wet, you see the brush strokes. When it's dry, you should almost not see any of them because I am using a flat paint. If I do see brush strokes, I don't know. I don't think I'll worry about it too much. But anyway, that only took a few minutes and barely took any out of the paint can. So that's just a quarter of it. Still got to do the front half, the motor, and the other half. So anyway, I might just paint those rims as is, I'm thinking, just for the hell of it. Okay, well, tractor itself has its first coat on. You can see it's actually drying not bad. And from far, like standing here, you do not see any brush strokes whatsoever. It's only up close. But the second coat, I'm guessing, is actually going to hide a lot of that. A little bit thicker in the center there because I already did 2 coats and it's just drying. But I decided I'm going to paint the whole motor, which of course you knew that because I sandblasted the tank. Now I had plans to actually just buy engine paint and paint the head and everything with engine paint. But you know something, I used the Tremclad like that in the spray can. And I actually sprayed quite a few engines before. And believe it or not, of course, it's not going to burn off the front cover here, not going to burn off the gas tank, starter, bottom end, or even the head normally will not burn off. The only place I've actually seen it really burn off is the exhaust and sometimes inside the fins. But I'm not going to be painting inside the fins. That's the one spot that's not going to get paint. Maybe I'll do the edge of the fins, but that's pretty much it. So I think I'm actually going to paint the entire motor with Tremclad. It's a good experiment. Again, if I don't like it, I can always sandblast it off. But the whole point of what I'm going for is like a flat black tractor. And the hood I might paint, actually I'm thinking the hood and the rims I might paint a different color. But for now, I'm going to see how far I can get on this can. And it's hard to see right now, but there's only about ½ an inch missing out of that can. So it's actually going a freaking long ways. And if I was doing this for shaker cans to get a good coat like this, yeah, I probably would have been through a full can at least by now. Well, there you go. There's the first coat. I painted everything on the motor besides my fuel gauge. And, hey, I guess I'll have to see how long until that paint just burns off and starts flaking. Then I'll have to sandblast it again. That's one coat for today, and I'll do a little bit more tomorrow. So, another coat tomorrow. And that, I don't know, it's actually looking pretty good where it's dry. So, you barely see any brush strokes. Again, the second coat, you should see almost nothing. So, getting a little bit of paint on the belt, but to be honest, I'd rather have the belt black than blue.